Hi there, it's Palmina here from Mystical Touch.
And Julia from Adiabella Rises.
Welcome to our weekly chat. Well, today's the first day that Adiabella and I have decided to get together. Some of you may know that we had a bit of a break when I moved from Perth to Sydney. So Adiabella's over in Perth. Oh, I miss you. And I'm over in Sydney. And we've started our weekly vids again. So thank you for those that have continued to follow us and watch some of our YouTube vids that we've been putting up in between and from the beginning and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so maybe a little bit not so synced. But yeah, we're just going to see how it goes. So Adiabella and I decided that this week we wanted to talk a little bit about past loved ones. There's a lot of talk, and I'm going to hand it over to Adiabella in a minute, but there's a lot of talk I've noticed of people saying, oh, you know, your loved ones are always with you, this and that, and they'll be with you forever and that sort of thing. And not to put a downer on it, but we're going to talk more about the process of what happens once you do pass over, and, you know, those that are with you all the time and those that may move on and reincarnate or whatever. Anyway, from there, I'm going to pass it over to Adiabella because that's sort of her thing.
Pressure. Okay, so to answer, I guess, the biggest question is they're always readily called upon. They're not sort of sitting or floating by your shoulder just waiting for you to talk to them or think about them.
But why?
I'm thinking that if you've left Earth and you're a really fun soul, that you don't necessarily want to be hanging around Earth anymore.
But I want you here.
So, and I'm not trying to burst anyone's bubble because, like I said, they are readily called upon, but yeah, they're in a different little part of the universe when they pass on. So they're not sort of needing to or wanting to hang around all the time. That's a very human ego thing to think. And the fact that we want them around all the time, again, is a very human ego thing, because if you actually connected with your soul, you would know that no matter whether they were there in body or not, they're, you know, you're still connected in some way. So where do I go from here?
That's a really good point. Because what I find is, you know, and I never really put much thought into it, to be honest, but it's from, you know, posts that I see, not only on my page or your page or, you know, that sort of thing on other people's pages, and just in conversation in general. People, you know, are either saying, oh, they're always with you, and that's coming from all sorts of people in different industries and stuff like that. So I think it's more to sort of just let people understand that, you know, when we pass on, whether it be 10 years ago, yesterday, whatever, you know, not everyone is going to be there in the past life in the spirit world with you 24/7. And 10 years down the track, possibly not either. And I just wanted people to understand, and not to make it, you know, sad for them or anything like that, because it's not like you just explained. We're connected permanently, no matter flesh or not. We are all connected. But the thing is, just to give people an understanding that, yeah, they may be with you, but for instance, like both my parents are passed on. And there are times when they'll come through either maybe my dreams or that sort of thing. But I've noticed that it's more my dad that sort of comes through more than my mum. So, and I'm not someone who actually feels them around me as such. I just every now and then get the sense that they might be there, or that the messages come through in a dream because I physically see them in my dream. They come through as people like you and me. But it hasn't been for a while now, and I'm not one that has to see them and that sort of thing. But I can't continue my life sitting there going, yeah, they're going to be with me all the time. Yes, they are in spirit and in soul, but if they choose to reincarnate, my mum might have reincarnated by now for all I know, or, this and that. And I don't want to be someone that says to somebody who has someone who's passed away, oh, they're with you all the time. And yeah, we are, like you just explained, we're all connected. We're all together constantly in our whole eternity, or whatever you call it. I don't know, you can explain that one. But more to let people know that, just be mindful of what they're saying when they are trying to comfort those that are really, having heartbreak or in really sorrow or really missing people in the past, because we don't want them to think that, just willy-nilly say, look, they're with you all the time and, that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to give people the wrong impression when I know that, hey, I've reincarnated, could be someone in the past missing me. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. But I'm not there to be talking to them. That sort of thing. I don't know. Did that make any sense? But yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Don't get me wrong, spirits can choose to come and visit their loved ones if they choose to, that sort of thing. But I know for myself, when I do mediumship work, one, sometimes they don't want to come and play and talk and give messages. And two, it can be a little while before they actually come to my little campfire and want to chat. So, and again, I'm not the be-all and end-all wizard, but to me that would say, well, they're happily doing their things on the, people like to call it heaven, but I don't like calling it heaven, but they're in that realm where, their souls, they're doing what they need to sort of finalise this year, finalise this lifetime, choose what they're going to do in the next lifetime, and just be happy being a soul for a while, you know what I mean? And it's not like there's a door that starts that says, oh, you can't come back down to earth to visit or whatever. But again, a soul on a soul level knows that they don't necessarily need to be doing that. You know what I mean? They can quite happily look at where they are and go, oh, yeah, they're fine, and not go, oh, I must do this, or, oh, they might be missing me. Because, again, that's a very human ego thing. So when you first obviously die, and I won't get too deep in it at the moment, but when you first die, obviously, the first inhuman alive sort of time frames, you've got anywhere up to 6 months of where that soul's going through a review of their life. They're dealing with everything that they've done in the lifetime, whether it's letting stuff go that they didn't do or celebrating what they did do and things like that. So for those first 6 months, I don't mean to be horrible, but they're not necessarily thinking about their loved ones on earth, because they're having to deal with their own stuff. They'll come and visit if that's what takes through the review process and the process of letting that lifetime go, but they're doing their own thing. And that's why usually mediums will always say, when someone's first died, yeah, you can kind of check in with them a little bit, but they're not ready to start talking to you until much later after that, because they've got so much to do themselves. And it's the same, like you say, if they died 10 years ago, more than likely they've already reincarnated and their essence could still be there. I know my mum, for example, she still feels my great-grandpop, and I can tell you right now that he's reincarnated. So there's sometimes that little bit of an essence there that's just enough to sort of give, again, a human with ego, that kind of well-being feeling and going, oh, they are around and whatever else. Because my mum obviously needs that, whereas I don't need that. I know full well when I try and connect, he's not there.
Yeah.
So he has reincarnated into another life. And if we're meant to meet again, then that's what will happen. But, yeah, and don't get me wrong, I have said, your loved ones are around all the time, because it's not technically a lie, but it's not technically the truth either. You know what I mean? But as soon as you start thinking about them, I guess it's the same as the angels. When you start thinking about them, then you're kind of pulling on that little string that connects you to them, and you start kind of pulling it down because you're thinking about them or you're upset about them or whatever else. So in that respect, they do get closer. But again, for a soul, they don't need to hover over Earth doing whatever. Obviously, there's some that haven't possibly moved on and stuff, and that's just a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
But they lose all the human ego. It's the same as if you're a shit in real life, your soul's not that way. You know what I mean? Like, I have my pop that comes and visits all the time now, and yes, I love you dearly now, but I had nothing to do with him in the human life, like nothing at all, because of the way that he was and had his life, and I just didn't want anything to do with that. But now in passing, he's this amazing source and guide for me. And at first I was like, yeah, no, I don't think so. But then I had to sit back and think, and my mentor say, well, actually, he's not the human ego side of himself anymore. He's just a beautiful soul that, yes, still has characteristics of that person, but the shitty stuff's fallen to the wayside. And so now I embrace him wholeheartedly, and he's always there.
That's interesting because, and I know some of that is, as you said, a bit of a different vid. But that is an interesting point that you just sort of mentioned there, where they aren't the human person that they were once they've passed on. And I wholeheartedly understand that. I totally get that. I personally didn't really have much of a relationship with my mum and dad either. You know, they were there and supportive and blah, 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 and did what they had to do, but not as in you sat down and had a conversation with them about what was going on in your life, that sort of stuff. It was sort of left to the rest of the sisters and everything. You sort of fended for yourself in that respect. But, you know, they're not that when they've passed on. Like, it's funny because I've totally just got that, which was quite interesting. But a lot of people still sort of, you know, will hold that grudge or whatever, that, you know, and why has that one come through when I wasn't, you know, they weren't nice to me, So you're absolutely right. That is a human ego thing, and we have to remember that spirit is spirit, and, you know, they don't, once they cross over, is it true that they don't, which is something I actually believe, but I'm asking you anyway, is it true that, you know, they, in spirit, we don't hold any hate, we don't hold any regret, we don't hold, you know, we may say we're sorry from the other side to us because that's what the human ego needs to hear, to maybe continue on in their lifetime here. You know, when you hear past loved ones come through and say, oh, you know, I'm sorry, I just want to say I'm sorry, you know, that sort of thing. You get those messages. Like, I don't feel, for me personally, I don't feel my parents have to say any of that because I'm absolutely fine with them. But so what's the purpose of them saying that, other than it being a human ego thing, to let us be a lot more at ease with their passing and be able to deal with life without them, or especially when they're the ones that don't take any of that with them when they pass over? What's the purpose of that?
Well, it's not that they don't take it over with them, but you remember in that 6-month review that they've got, that's when they're going, oh, sugar, I probably should have done that a bit different or whatever else. So that's where they can start seeing, and again, I'll use my pop as an example because he's so recent for me. He's coming back to me now because he's righting the wrongs that he didn't do when he was alive, and he couldn't see them when he was alive. But now that he's had his review and he can actually see from that pure unconditional love, peace and harmony that a soul is, a soul can't be anything different, it can't be anything negative. He can actually see, oh, the family is creating the same patterns and I need to do something about this, rather than waiting for them to die and go through the same review and go, oh yeah, shit, we did it again. Yeah. So that's where he's stepping in. So he did say sorry to me and said, you know, I'm writing what I did wrong. I'm writing, you know, a family generation because it stops now. You know, with me and my sisters, it will change. So that's him coming through saying, okay, what can I do now? What can I do to help? So that's where that kind of comes in. And again, they'll when you're connecting to them with medium work, that is kind of what the human needs to hear, especially if they haven't been, you know, the greatest person or whatever else. And if they've never had the chance to connect before, because that person that's come for the medium reading is usually quite closed off, and they haven't had a chance since, you know, passing, to be able to say, you know what, I did realise that these kind of things are wrong. Because let's face it, most humans can't admit when they're wrong. So it's quite amazing that as a spirit, they can come in and go, yeah, actually, I did have some regrets. I'm really sorry I did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, again, like you say, it's not for their healing or whatever, because they've already done it and they're a spirit and it doesn't affect them. But obviously they know that it's going to still make an impact on the human that has the ego.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, especially that review period. I know you say 6 months, and I'm sure that's a bit of give and take there, like it's not strictly. That's quite interesting. I don't know whether, I'd imagine not too many people know about that. So that's, I love that. I love that they have their review period. I love that you get a chance to, I'm sort of like, oh my God, when's my time to have my review? Not that I want to leave her, say that, but I'll be like, oh, wow, you know, like, what can I do next time? You know, is that where we get to choose when we come back and what to do, whether we're going to come back and all that sort of stuff? Or no, yeah, I didn't think so.
No,
okay, that's
all purely So it's, you know, it's about, and again, I think it would need to be another conversation of a big, deep nitty gritty, but, you know, they do go and visit loved ones if they need to. They do go and revisit all of their life and see where they've done good and where they've done wrong. And, you know, they even get some healing if they need it. They, you know, the angels take them up and do some healing and, you know, cord cutting or whatever else needs to happen. It may be that they go, you know, they're sent back briefly to their original realm. You know, there's a lot that can happen within that time depending on the person and whatever else. So it can be, like you say, 6 months is give or take. It might take a few weeks or it might take a little bit longer, but, you know, usually if you're trying to contact someone after that 6 months, this is a little bit easier than beforehand, because obviously, especially in that first 6 months, you might not even realise at first that you're even dead. You know what I mean? Like, well, especially in the first week or so, you might be like going, what the hell's going on? Like, I'm not quite, where am I? Depending on, you know, how it happened or whatever else, there might be a bit of confusion there. So giving them 6 months to settle into their old home, sort of, you know, helps them as well.
It's like, oh, a bit disorientated. Where am I? Oh, I'm back here again.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. Now.
Geez, that went quick. Oh, that's funny. But I suppose it would be like that, wouldn't it? That's incredible. Oh, well, no, that's really interesting because, as I said at the beginning, like, there's been lots of talk around that. There's been lots of talk around, you know, I see it all the time, and sometimes I cringe when I see people saying, especially when, you know, customers or, you know, clients are asking in questions that I see on, you know, on pages and stuff, but where they're saying, oh, you know, this one passed away, you know, it could be like 20 years ago, for instance, and automatically they're getting instant responses of, oh, no, they're fine, and they're saying that they love you, this and that. So, you know, it's just ensuring, and I know that's fine, there's nothing wrong with saying that, like you said, you've qualified that of course it's technically, it's not wrong to say that, but when it's a person asking because they're actually really wanting to know whether that person is actually with them in spirit, like literally, as we were saying before, on their shoulder, you know, you've got to be quite sensitive and quite delicate around, you know, sort of responding to that sort of thing. So it was really just sort of get the message through to you guys out there that, as Adiabella said, they are definitely with us in spirit constantly. We're all spirit, we're all connected, we're all, so technically, yes, that, you know, we're always together and always connected. But whether you are asking, are they spiritually in whatever form you want to call it, like right there, you know, where you're like, oh, is my hand going through them, you know, that sort of thing. I see dead people. No, let's keep it serious. That is serious though, but anyway, yeah, you know, I think we have to be not so willy-nilly responding in that way. So yeah, so hopefully people understand what that's about. So yes, technically they are with us always. We're all connected, no matter whether we're in flesh form or not, whether we've passed over. But great point, Adiabella, about mentioning that 6-month period. I really, that's massive. I just think that, and I know that, you know, you and I have spoken about that, you know, personally and privately before, but that's a real interesting point to sort of get across to people, and especially if they're wanting to try and contact their past loved ones, to give them that 6-month break, or, you know, or thereabouts. Although I know it's hard for the person, you know, who's here in human form to sort of go, no, I don't want to wait 6 months and someone's just passed away, especially if it's tragic or, you know, that sort of thing. But that, yeah, I just think that's huge and makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense.
Think of it this way: if you want to try and connect beforehand, and again, you know, you're most welcome to. I've had one where the lady hadn't actually said how long they'd been passed for, and I was getting really scattered messages, and that's how I came to realise that they don't always know what's going on at first, because, you know, I was seeing in the hospital bed, I was seeing these weird sort of, you know, movie reels of their life, and they were kind of like, what's going on here? And obviously if you've been passed for long enough, you know what the deal is. And then I kind of said it all, and then I was like, it's really, really scattered. How long has he actually been dead for? And they were like 2 weeks. And I was like, well, that's why. So if you're wanting to get validation before then, you're not always guaranteed to be getting much. You know, you might get things like that, or you might not be able to pick up anything, and it's more devastating for you as a person trying to connect, not getting anything, or getting really weird, obscure messages. And sorry, Tex has decided that he really wants my love right now.
Sexy.
Yes, boy, we're fine. There's no spirits here. Then if you were to wait 6 months where they're actually settled and can actually have, you know, proper, meaningful words said to you. That even makes sense. Sorry, yeah. I got distracted by the pooch trying to French kiss.
Tex is the spirit whisperer. He seems to know when they're always around. Oh, look.
He totally does. Oh. And he does this. He becomes real clingy, and or he growls at stuff in the distance.
That's because your family are all around you. When you get in the zone of talking, they all come down and they're like, say this, we want to spread the word. I know. So he can pick them, I reckon.
Yeah. And just to be aware as well, like, it depends on, you know, what the spirit is there for, because say, for instance, my pop, he's a lot more closer because of the purpose that I'm here on earth for. So it's not always, you know, and obviously he's been given a bit of a, okay, Tex, enough, please. He's obviously been given a bit, Tex, please. Everything is fine, I promise. Thank you. He's been given a bit more of a sort of guardian, hands-on role than what he might have had if, you know, if I wasn't his granddaughter. So it really depends on so many different little factors that seriously do cut my, like, face off here.
I know.
So I just watch my the back of my chihuahua's head, right? And every time I he moves. Oh, you're fine. Don't fall down.
Let's go.
Being blasted on public television.
Is he even allowed in that room?
Next question.
Ruby. Let's make it a real family event. Oh, too funny. Anyway, I've lost track of where we even were now.
That's because Tex has stolen the show. Tex, enough, boy.
So if you want to know
everything's all good,
around, just get a dog.
Yeah, exactly. Or just ask Tex. He'll tell you.
Yeah.
Hey, boy.
All right. So to summarise and to finish it up, I think, because we can always talk for hours and hours and hours, can't we, Ariabella?
Yes.
I suppose, yeah, as we said, it was really just to sort of clarify a couple of things and just let people know that, of course, you know, Spirit is with us all the time. You know, we're all connected, as we've already said. If you're wanting to get a reading from, you know, have a mediumship reading for a past loved one that's sort of passed over in, you know, within the last 6 months or so, probably to get the best reading would be best to wait after that. Is that right, Ariabella?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we know it's difficult, so obviously, you know, you're just going to do what you want to do anyway. But yeah, if you're asking, you know, if your past loved ones are with you all the time, yeah, they are. If you're wanting to know, are they like really, really with you, as in they haven't reincarnated, they haven't, do you know what I mean? Like they haven't moved on, whether they're actually really there with you and watching and seeing everything that you do. Actually, that's a good point. Let me just ask that. You know how people ask, you know, did they see me get married? Did they see my firstborn? You know, are they proud of me? That sort of stuff. Now, I know that when they're around, they can see all that, but do they only, meaning our past loved ones, do they only know and see that once they've decided to come over and have a little look, or do they pick and sense all of what's going on because they're in spirit anyway? Do you know that?
I think they just know. That's the little whisper in my ear that I'm getting.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, when you've got an important event on, and it's obviously the past loved one is someone that you truly love and wish they had have been there, you're putting those thoughts out anyway. You don't necessarily need to go out loud, oh, I wish whatever.
Yeah.
You just make your head leading up to the day, oh, I really wish Granddad was here, or I wish Mum was here, or I wish my sister was here.
Yeah.
You're tugging on that little string again, because you know, you're putting that out to the universe, and the universe hears everything telepathically, which is why you have to be so careful with your thoughts. So they know. They know.
Perfect. Perfect.
The short answer is they know.
They know. Everybody, they know. All right, yeah. So that's pretty much it. What do you have anything else to add or summarize there, Ariabella?
I don't think so. And I think this is going a little bit one step further, but I just want to put it out there because I've had some people on my page be worried about it. But if a spirit does come to you, and I know I have an amazing friend who they visit to her all the time because that's her very special gift, just remember that you are always in control. So if they're hanging around and you don't feel comfortable or you don't want them to, and remember the uncomfortable feeling is usually on you because you don't quite know what's going on, or, you know, you're kind of thinking, what the hell? You are in control, so you can say, I'm sorry, I'm really not feeling it. You can go away now. If you have to be very firm and say a big F off, and I won't say it fully because I don't know how much YouTube likes swearing, but do it. Be very firm and just say, no, I'm really not feeling it. You need to go away. And that's when your grounding and your shields come into play so well, because, you know, when you're about to go to sleep is when, you know, usually when they come, it's just guaranteed because, you know, you're all nice and quiet, yet your light is still shining, and your light shining is what they zone in on. You know what I mean? They can feel, they can know that one, oh, she's going to be able to feel me. She's going to be able to see me, hear me, whatever your talent may be, get goosebumps or whatever. And that's when you're closing yourself down for the day and shielding yourself before you go to sleep and saying, I'm closed for the day. It's not, it's now time for good sleep. That's where all of those practices come into really handy. And just remember, they're not bad. Don't get me wrong. And again, that's a totally different conversation. There might be some not so pleasant things out there that will feel horrible. But most of the time, you're only feeling that kind of yucky sensation because you don't know what the hell it is that you're feeling, or it's a bit like, oh, this is new. I don't quite know what to do with this.
Yeah.
You're in control.
Yep.
Just tell them to go away.
That makes perfect sense about being in control, because that's what it is, exactly what you just said. It's the fear of, oh my God, what's that? What can I feel? What can I see? That sort of thing. And the fear gets there, and then you don't say, go away, go away. You just sit there and you cringe. And so, of course, they're still there and they're thinking it's okay to still be there. So, yeah, great point.
Yep.
Good one to finish off.
Yep.
Finish off on. Awesome.
Yep.
I learned heaps in that one. I love that you know everything. So she may not think that she knows everything, but she does, everybody. She does, really. Yeah, so anyway, so thanks for joining us again, everybody. We'll be continuing to do these weekly. Just remember that you can ask us questions, send through questions so that we can, talk about that, make it our next topic, that sort of thing. And, yeah, just send through your messages to either, Adiabella Rises or myself, Mystical Touch, or, I don't know, can you send messages on the Mystical?
Yeah, you can put comments on, you can put comments on our videos as well, so you can do it that way as well.
Perfect. Alrighty, so we're going to leave it there, I think, and
we have a special announcement first.
Oh my God, this is why she's the brains. I totally forgot. Oh, I'm on another planet. I'm always on a friggin' another planet. Yes. Okay, over to Julia, the brains of the pair.
So just letting you know, we're actually going to be bringing out, the first one will be in July, a monthly Mystical Rises paid newsletter. So we're really, really excited about this. It's going to be filled with so many tips and tricks and fun things for the month. We're not going to give too much away because then it's not going to be very exciting, but you can obviously imagine cards and different little things everywhere.
So we're going to have some, like, I think we agreed that we'll have some, well, we agreed a while ago because it's sort of already done, but yeah, we're going to have some regular stuff that'll be sort of like standard monthly things, but then there's going to be random stuff chucked in there every month that it's just going to be, different every month. So it'll keep everyone on their toes. It'll be something different to look forward to. That'll be unexpected, not just same old, same old. So, yeah, so we're very excited. We've been working on it for months, haven't we?
I know. Well, since the end of last year, this idea is...
It actually was. You're right. Oh, my God. That's like 6-7 months away, if not longer. Friggin' hell. Yes. Oh, my God. I'm so glad you friggin' remembered, because I've got it written down on my notes and I totally forgot. That's gold. I love it. Yeah, so go on.
We'll put more information on our pages because, again, we're just kind of free-flowing here. So
That's gold. Yeah, we'll get that out over the next 24, 48 hours on our pages and stuff so that everyone can sign up, because the first newsletter will be going out on the 1st of every month, starting the 1st of July. Yeah. So we hope to have you join us on our new newsletter. So keep yourselves up to date with what's going on our pages and our YouTube channel, and yeah, you won't miss out. And I think we'll leave it there.
Sounds
all right. We'll send big kisses to everybody.
Mwah.
Love you all, and we'll see you next week. Ciao.
Bye.